Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notification.
Okay guys, how are you doing? I hope you're doing well. Welcome to our YouTube channel. In this tutorial, we are going to learn Django Ajax on how we can submit a form without refreshing. Actually, this is how your work will look like at the end of this tutorial, right? Before we start a demonstration, let me tell you about 5 things which are important, or 5 things to be covered. First of all, when dealing with a form, make sure that in a page you are dealing with a form, you have connected with JavaScript. Then the second thing important to note, make sure that your form and your input have ID. Then the third is make sure you prevent a page from reloading, capturing data by ID, sending them by using URL, querying a form, and sending alert to the user, right? So those are about 3 important things you can note. But our tutorial is it is subdivided in about 4 parts. Part number 1 is HTML, dealing with HTML page reuse. The second part is Ajax, which is helping us to send the data without refreshing. The third part is views, which process data sent by submit button. And the fourth thing to do is model. We need to create a model which will be which will save the data we submit, right? So before we start with something which will be number 1, which is model creation, let's start with the demo, right, to see how it works. So here, as you can see, I type username is right, password is right. Once I click submit, you can see data submitted successful. Okay, then when I go to my database, actually here I'm using SQLite browser, right, to see well my data. So let me click here, then I find model named as Motec, right? You can see this is data we have submitted, right? So this is how we can submit we can submit data in Django without refreshing. So here we start with part number 1, which is creating a model for saving a data we will submit. A model is created, so I'm going just to show you how the model is looking like, right? So I open here models. My model is Motec, right? Here, as you can see, my model is Motec. It has first name and the last name, right? So if you want to go with me, you can just create a model Motec, and it have 2 columns, which is the first name and the last name. So after creating a model, you learn 2 commands. I hope you know Python manage.py make migrations, and python.py manage.py migrate. After migrating, then it's a time to create a HTML page, right? So I created the HTML page. Let me open this. Okay, I'm going to copy this. Yes, let me see. Yes, it's nice. So I Control S to copy it. Then in comment templates, is comment bookup. Let me create another file and I'm going to name it YouTube. YouTube.html. Then I Ctrl S to save the changes, right? Then after we're done with part number 2, we have created a model, we have created the HTML template, but we can't say that we're done. The intention of creating HTML template in Django is rendering. So let's create a function for rendering this HTML template. Is when we will say we are done with creating HTML template in Django. So quickly here, let me create a model. By the way, let me copy this. This is source code reusability. You just copy and paste it. So I paste it here. Then I give a name to a function as YouTube. Right? Then book up here it's youtube.html. We know that after creating a function, we need to specify a path of a function in URLs, right? Oh, here there is already YouTube, so let me comment this. Okay, let me find another function named YouTube. Okay. Here is another function with the same name. So let me comment this. Python multiple line comment. I hope you know. Then Ctrl S to save the changes. After that, in urls.py, you can see I've specified the path. The path is YouTube. The name of a function is YouTube, and the name or namespace is YouTube. So Ctrl S to save the changes. Then after, go on your browser, type something like this, YouTube. Right now we can see username, password, but this is not username and password. This is the first name and the last name. So let's name our input fields as we named them in models.py, right? So here is a name, first name, here is last name, right? So we are done with creating HTML page and rendering it, right? So the first name, last name, Django Ajax. I told you some 3 important information to take on. I told you that make sure your form have ID. As you can see here, ID of my form is my form. Also, I told you that your input should have ID. You can see this input have ID of first name and this input have ID of last name. Then I told you that important thing to take to the head is make sure you have specified or you have linked your page with jQuery, and this is a bedrock of our tutorial. If you fail to link jQuery, you'll totally fail to accomplish your goal, which is submitting a form without refreshing. Or if you'll press a long path of jQuery, you'll get error, right? So take to the head that make sure you have successfully linked the jQuery, because this is the bedrock of your JavaScript. You fail it, you fail to submit a form without refreshing, right? So those are the few important things you can take to the head. After making sure we have a form with ID and all our input have ID, is to prevent cross-site request forgery by writing this below the form. Right? After that, we're going to party number 3. We are done with we created a model, right? We have created the HTML page and the rendering. We're going to part number 4, which is I can say part number 3. Let's create Python view first, right? So let me create a view here. I create a view here. The view is by the way, let me copy this. Honestly, feedback from you. Let me copy this. I want to reuse, right? So let me copy this view. Then I paste it here. I name it my okay. I can name it what's a good name? Okay, YouTube. Let me name it Pelcon. Oh, not Pelcon. And let me name it. I want to find a nice name. What's a nice name? Okay, let me just give D Moses. Let me find if I have any function with the same name. No, yeah. So here you can see if request dot method is positive, then we take first name and last name. Then after we go to save in model named as Motech app. As you can see, this is a model we are saving our data. It is named the Motech app. Then after saving, return HTTP response. Okay, right? So I save this. We are done with creating view, right? We created a model, we created the HTML template, we have created a view. So what's in the last part of this tutorial is just to deal with Ajax on front user, prevent form from being submitted or reloaded, capturing important information, then sending them to the required URL or required path. So here we have created this function. Let's create a path for this, right? Let me find if the Moses is present here. No. So let me copy this. D Moses. Just copy this. And then I paste it here. So here is YouTube, then the Moses. YouTube. Control S. So the final part is dealing with Ajax, right? Let me cross this. Also, let me close this ajax.html. So here below your form, we can put our Ajax source code. Script. Then we start writing our Ajax, right? So document.onSubmit. Once a form submit, here we specify a form ID. Which is my form. Function E. E.prevent default. Ajax Then after, what you need to specify in after, actually you have um, specified that on submit, when this form is id name my form submitted, do the following: prevent form from reloading, then if method is of post, type post, and if url, let's specify url is what's his url, demoses, then we specify the data to be captured, which is first name, last name, yes, we only want to send the first name and last name, but also we want to prevent, as I told you that we want to prevent our form against the cross-site forgery scripting, right? So here is the CSLF middleware token, input, okay. Should be something like this. Yes, it's okay. Then after specifying the data to be submitted is to type a success function below, right? Success function. So after submitting a form, we want to clear form fields from input. Last name, Then after, I want to alert a user that data submitted is successful. Control S to save the changes. Okay, let's try if we are good. Okay, first name, let me say YouTube. Last name YouTube. Then click submit. Okay, we submit a form. Okay, here is Django Ajax. Okay, let me change what's happening. Let me refresh the page. Now you can see we have uncaught syntax error. This is token. So let's see. Well, right. Okay, here there is should be something like this. Then Control S to save the changes, right? So this is comma, 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 right? Let me refresh to see if this error disappears. Okay, now you can see we are good. So on network here, let me type something. Submit. Now you can see data submitted is successful. The Moses. Once I click OK, it creates a form, right? If I go in refreshing my model, you can see the Moses. So this is how we can submit a form in Django by using Ajax without refreshing a form. Let's try for the last time before we close this tutorial. Django Ajax. Once I click submit, data submitted is successful. Okay, it creates a form. So actually that is how we can submit a form in Django Ajax without refreshing the page. Okay, actually thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, put comment, share and subscribe for the next tutorial update. But guys, don't worry about the source code. I'll upload them in my masterpiece YouTube account. Thanks and see you in the next tutorials.
Please don't forget to subscribe and turn on notification.